Okay, so have you ever felt like you just want to learn new things, but you hate having to go through like tons of information just to like get to the good stuff?
Yeah, it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, right?
Exactly, you get it. So that's why today we're going deep on something pretty mind-blowing, I think. We're going to be talking about how AI is being taught to think step by step, kind of like us humans do.
Like it's developing its own internal thought processes.
Exactly. And it's called chain of thought reasoning, or CoT for short. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, it's a pretty fascinating area of research.
Okay, cool. So for our listeners who might be new to this, can you give us a quick breakdown of what CoT is all about?
Sure. So imagine an AI solving a math problem, right? But instead of just giving you the answer, it actually shows you all the steps it took to get there, just like you would on a test.
Ah, so it's like showing its work, not just the final result.
Exactly. That's the essence of chain of thought.
So it's not just about getting the right answer, but also about understanding how the AI arrived at that answer. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it opens up a whole new level of transparency in AI.
But wait, doesn't that mean that these AI thought processes could get incredibly long and complex? Like, imagine pages of explanations for a simple equation.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And that's one of the challenges with current CoT models. While this transparency is super valuable, they can be a bit, well, verbose. They often use way more steps than necessary, especially for similar tasks.
Okay, yeah, I'm starting to see the potential downside here. It's like packing an overstuffed suitcase for a weekend trip, right? Way more than you actually need. So we've got AI showing its work, which is great, but it's also getting bogged down in all those extra steps.
It's a classic case of too much of a good thing.
Right. So where does this new technique, CoT-Valve, come in? How does it help with this overthinking problem?
So CoT-Valve is kind of like a thought compressor for AI. It helps to streamline those thought processes, make them more efficient.
Okay, so instead of bluntly telling the AI to use fewer words, which I imagine wouldn't be very effective, it actually finds a way to control how much the AI thinks internally.
That's a great way to put it. It identifies a specific direction in the AI's internal workings that directly controls the length of those thought chains, almost like a volume knob for the AI's thinking process.
Wait, so we can actually dial up or down how much the AI thinks? That's wild.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And it's done using a technique called LoRa, short for low rank adaptation. It's a very efficient way to tweak the AI's behavior without having to retrain the entire model from scratch.
Ah, so it's precise, it's efficient, and it doesn't require a complete AI overhaul. I'm already intrigued. But you mentioned earlier that CoT-Valves can actually make those thought chains longer if needed. So it's not just about thinking less, it's about finding the right amount of thinking for the task at hand, right?
Precisely. And what's really fascinating is that research shows that sometimes shorter AI thought chains can actually lead to more accurate results.
Hold on, less thinking, more accuracy. Now that's something I wouldn't have expected.
It's counterintuitive, but it highlights the fact that more thinking isn't always better, even for AI.
So how do we train AI to be this flexible and efficient with its thinking? Like, how do we find that sweet spot?
That's where mixed chain comes in. Think of it as a mental gym for AI. It's a specialized training dataset that includes a range of thought chain lengths for the same problem, so that AI can practice solving problems with varying levels of complexity.
So like different workout routines, some with short bursts of thinking, others with longer, more complex thought processes.
Exactly. And what's cool is that mixed chain can be created in different ways depending on the problem at hand. Sometimes we use human-made solutions as a guide. Other times the AI has to figure it out on its own. It's pretty versatile.
Okay, so we've got this AI thought compressor, CoT-Valve, and this mental gym for AI, mixed chain. But does all of this actually work? What kind of results are we seeing with CoT-Valve?
Well, that's what we're going to dive into next. We'll take a closer look at the experiments and the results they got. You might be surprised by what they found.
Okay, I'm definitely curious to hear more. Okay, so last time we were talking about how CoT-Valve can adjust those AI thought chains, making them longer, shorter, kind of like fine-tuning them, you know?
It's all about finding the right balance.
Exactly. But you know what? I'm still kind of stuck on this idea that shorter AI thoughts can actually lead to more accurate results. It just seems so counterintuitive. Like, shouldn't more thinking be better?
You would think so, right? We naturally associate more thinking with better outcomes.
Like, if you really put your mind to it, you'll come up with a better solution?
Yeah, but with AI, it's not always that straightforward.
So, like, those longer thought processes, they might just be adding unnecessary complexity.
It's like when you overthink a simple decision, right?
Oh, yeah, you end up making it way more complicated than it needs to be.
Exactly. And the research actually suggests that some AI models, they kind of have this tendency to overthink things. They go off on these tangents and generate these really elaborate thought chains. but those chains aren't always the most efficient or accurate way to get to the answer.
So it's like they're trying to show off how smart they are, but they end up missing the point completely.
In a way, yeah. And all that extra thinking, it can actually slow down the learning process, especially for smaller AI models.
So it's not just about efficiency. It's about making sure the AI can actually learn and improve.
It's about finding that sweet spot, that balance between complexity and clarity.
Makes sense. But we've been talking a lot about math problems. Does all this apply to other kinds of AI tasks? Like, could CoT-Valve be used to improve things like language translation or even like image recognition?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. And while the research we're looking at here focused specifically on mathematical reasoning, the underlying principles of CoT-Valve could absolutely have broader applications.
So the potential here is huge.
It is. We could see this technology being used to improve a whole range of AI applications.
This gets me really excited.
And there's another really cool thing about this research. They actually focused on smaller AI models.
Oh, right. We talked about how those smaller models seem to benefit the most from CoT-Valve. Why is that? What makes them so special?
Well, smaller models, they have less computational capacity, right? So they're a lot more vulnerable to the negative effects of, well, overthinking.
They get bogged down more easily.
Exactly. So CoT-Valve helps them focus their cognitive resources, so to speak, enabling them to achieve surprising levels of accuracy even with their smaller size.
So it's like giving them a mental boost, helping them punch above their weight class.
Exactly. And that actually has some pretty significant implications, especially for accessibility and the democratization of AI.
Because not everyone has access to those massive supercomputer-level AI models, right?
Exactly. But with CoT-Valve, even individuals and organizations with limited resources could potentially train and use very powerful AI models.
That's incredible. So it's not just about making AI smarter, it's about making AI more accessible to everyone.
It is. It opens up so many possibilities for innovation and discovery across a whole range of fields.
It's almost like leveling the playing field.
And let's not forget about the environmental impact as well.
Oh, right. Smaller, more efficient AI models, they require less energy to run, which is good for the environment.
Exactly. So CoT-Valve, it's not just advancing AI capabilities, it's also promoting responsible and sustainable AI development.
Okay, so it's a win-win on multiple levels, but I feel like you're about to hit us with one of your butts here.
Well, you know me too well. There's always more to learn and explore, right?
Yeah, of course. So what's the catch? What are the caveats here?
Well, first off, we need to remember that these experiments were conducted on very specific data sets and with specific models.
So the results might not apply universally.
Yeah, more research is needed to see how well this generalizes to other AI tasks and other types of AI models.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about that sweet thought we talked about earlier, that optimal length for the thought chains? How do we actually find it?
That's a great question. Is there like a universal formula? Or does it depend on the specific task, the data, the AI model being used?
So many questions.
Exactly. These are all things that future research needs to explore.
Wow, it's amazing to think about where we started. Like, we just wanted to understand how AI is learning to think more like us, and now we're talking about, like, controlling thought chains and finding that sweet spot and the potential of these smaller AI models. Pretty mind-blowing. Where do we even go from here?
It's been quite a journey. And, as we wrap up our deep dive into this whole AI thought compressional thing, I think the big takeaway is that we've discovered way more than just a new technology.
Yeah, it feels like we've stumbled onto something much bigger.
We're starting to realize that the future of AI isn't just about building bigger and more complex models. It's about understanding how they think, like how to optimize those thought processes, make them more efficient, and make sure those thoughts align with our goals as humans.
So AI that can not only solve problems, but do it in a way that makes sense to us, in a way that feels, I don't know, responsible.
Exactly. And with CoT-Valve, we have this powerful tool that lets us kind of shape and fine-tune those AI thought processes. It's pretty exciting.
I'm thinking back to those smaller AI models we talked about. They seem to really benefit from CoT-Valve. What does this mean for the future of AI? Like, could this be a game changer?
I think it could be. The fact that these smaller models, which are cheaper and easier to run, can achieve such incredible results with CoT-Valve, well, that's huge. It could democratize access to really powerful AI, allowing even individuals and small organizations to use this technology.
Like leveling the playing field, right?
Exactly. And smaller, more efficient models, they use less energy too, so it's more sustainable. CoT-Valve is pushing AI development in a direction that's both powerful and responsible. I think that's really important.
This whole deep dive has been incredible. We've covered so much ground and learned so much. But before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to leave our listener with? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think the main thing I want people to take away from this is a sense of wonder. Like, this field is evolving so rapidly, and we're not just building machines anymore. We're creating systems that can think, reason, and learn in ways that we're only beginning to understand.
It's mind-blowing.
It is, and I also want to emphasize just how much potential those smaller AI models have. With techniques like CoT-Valve, these models can achieve amazing things, and that makes AI more accessible and more sustainable.
I love that idea that powerful AI could be for everyone.
It could be. And one last thought, as we develop even more sophisticated I think it's really important to consider the implications, the ethical questions that come up when we start controlling thought processes. You know what I mean?
It's a huge responsibility, right? Like, we're not just writing code, we're shaping how these AI systems think and learn.
Exactly. But it's also an incredible opportunity. If we approach this carefully, I think we can create a future where AI helps us solve some of the world's biggest challenges and make things better for everyone.
So it's not just about the tech, it's about how we use it, how we guide its development.
Absolutely. That's what makes this field so exciting.
Well, I know my brain is buzzing right now, and I'm sure our listeners feeling the same way. There's so much more to explore and learn.
That's the beauty of it, right? There's always more to discover.
For those who want to dive deeper into this research, we've included links to the source material in the show notes.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep thinking deeply.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Please.